Gervonta Davis say you need the money.
Shit.
What's going on with you and Gervonta?
If I'm a boxer, he a boxer, you a boxer, we all need the money.
I ain't doing it for free.
Thank you.
What if Gervonta said, hey, I'll come up to 154. I'll come up to 154 while you talking.
Oh man.
You go to you'll fight Gervonta at 154?
I wish him the best. That's all I'm saying.
When people, what I got from that is he's a hater. You don't know me as a person. Let's say you don't like me. Like, you don't know me. Like, you feel me? And I don't give a fuck him. And everybody in the crew, I mean, with him.
Same question for you. You're a proud father.
There are levels to this boxing game, and Terence "Bud" Crawford just reminded the world exactly which one he's on. In a brand new live interview, Crawford didn't just throw subtle shade at Gervonta "Tank" Davis. He threw the whole tree. What was meant to be a relaxed sit-down turned into a full-blown call-out, with Crawford openly questioning Tank's recent performances, his reputation, and even the legitimacy of his last victory. This is way more than just fight talk. This is a statement.
Tank said I was a meat lover. He came in, he was like, oh, this guy, you a meat lover.
But Tank would never even think about hesitating to come up to 154.
All right, what about 47, though?
Yes, if he get to pick his opponent. If Tank get to pick his opponent, he would do it. But Tank would never come from 35 to 54.
Y'all got into it on social media around that time. Y'all was doing the back and forth shit. Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens, or is it like...
I just really don't like that dude.
You know? Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. I don't like.
Just not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
Yeah, I don't like nothing about him. No, I don't like nothing about him. I just felt like he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's using what he got to shield him. Like he got a lot of security guards around him, and he know, he in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
I respect him as a fighter.
Yeah.
He definitely got skills. He got power. He got tremendous boxing ability. But like his core personality and his ways, nah.
Statement. Crawford made it crystal clear. He sees the hype, hears the noise, and he's not buying any of it. He called out Tank for dodging real challenges and just lit a fire under the entire lightweight division. If you thought the bad blood between these two was over, think again. Let's break it down, because what Crawford said, what he implied, and the way he said it, shook the whole room.
You said going out on 3 fights. You know the last 2 fights you want to go out on? Yeah, the last fight you want to go out on. Like, who do you have anybody in mind? No, I'm saying, no, I don't have no name right now. But I got somebody I want to call out after this fight. You said you got somebody you want to call out after this fight? Yeah. Who is that? I'm not going to tell you.
Is it Lomachenko?
Who?
Somebody asked Lomachenko.
No.
All right. Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready. What you think about that?
Oh.
Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready.
I need 3 now.
Yeah.
Steven Espinoza said Shakur turned down a 1-fight deal to fight you because he wanted a multi-fight deal. What's your thoughts on that? He's not worth it. He's not worth it. He's not even worth it. Anyway, got to fight somewhere else and prove himself and then, like, you feel me? You know how they got UFC and like the underground shit? You gotta fight on the underground shit and then get that.
You gotta go to the G League.
You have an idea?
The first bombshell dropped when the host casually brought up Tank's old claim that Crawford was only in it for the money. You could literally see Crawford's face twist like, wait, what? Then he fired back with a truth bomb. We all need the money. I'm not doing this for free. This wasn't just about money anymore. Crawford was calling out the hypocrisy. Because, let's be real, Tank's not exactly topping Forbes' billionaire list either. They're both prize fighters, chasing legacy and a paycheck. So why is Tank acting like he's above it all? But the shade didn't stop there. When the interviewer asked how Crawford would feel about Tank moving up to 154 to fight him, Crawford didn't even flinch. He just said, I wish him the best. That wasn't encouragement. That was a funeral speech. Translation, Crawford's not chasing Tank. If Tank wants that smoke, he's gonna have to level up fast. Because Tank at 154, that's a whole different beast. And judging by Crawford's reaction, he doesn't take that idea seriously at all. The Crawford's yes undefeated for a reason. He knows
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147 for him.
Ooh, see, oh, man.
You're going to have a pre-camp.
Then what the people going to say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
His worth, and he's not about to waste his prime on fantasy matchups against guys who barely edged past Lamont Roach. And this is where things got spicy. Crawford didn't just throw shade at Tank's resume. He broke down his last fight with surgical precision. When asked about Tank's bout with Roach, Crawford didn't hold back one bit. This Crawford brought up the moment Tank took a knee, something that should have been ruled a knockdown, and questioned.
You can help me out on this. This last fight, Roach and Gervonta. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Man.
I mean, you can't take a knee. That's a knockdown. Because I saw Floyd break his hand hitting the guy and took a knee, and they gave Floyd an 8 count. So I'm trying to figure out how Gervonta avoided that, and then I'm trying to figure out how he got his guy come up to the top of the ring and wipe grease out his eyes. They do that now, bud.
I guess that's part of the new, boxing era.
When you saw that, tell me when you saw this, you saw him take.
And how that was allowed to slide. But he didn't stop there. He also called out the bizarre moment when Tank's team jumped on the apron mid-fight to wipe grease from his eyes. That's not just odd. It's a clear procedural violation, and Crawford made sure everyone watching knew it. Even wilder, Crawford indirectly called out the referee. He highlighted how Steve Willis started a count, then suddenly stopped, as if someone backstage told him to. At this point, it's not just boxing talk anymore. It's sounding a lot like corruption. Crawford said it plain and simple. Without that missed knockdown, Tank wouldn't have won. He even gave the edge to Lamont Roach. And let's be real.
And then you see he go to the apron and this guy come up to the top of the ring. Well, he's like, hold on, what's going on?
I'm just as confused as you. I said, huh? I was just like, oh, that's crazy. And Steve Willis a great referee.
He is.
And he started counting, then stopped
it.
Like they said, hey, you better stop counting. Oh, wow. Hey, don't do that again.
Real. That's not something you usually hear from one elite fighter about another. But it just shows how real Crawford is. He's not playing politics. He's not protecting anyone's clout. He's serving up the raw truth. According to Crawford, Tank came in overconfident, underestimated Roach, and that arrogance nearly cost him the fight. Everyone expected Gervonta Davis to walk through Lamont Roach. Just another easy payday, a highlight reel knockout, and a flashy post-fight flex.
Cards. Judge at the ringside. Eric Marlinski scores it on 115 to 113 in favor of Gervonta Davis. Judges Steve Weisfeld and Glenn Feldman both scores about 114 to 114, even a draw. The decision is a majority draw.
But Roach flipped the script from round one. He came in with pressure, precision, and zero fear. The guy who was supposed to be a simple tune-up ended up giving Tank one of the toughest nights of his career. And then there was the 9th round. The moment that had everyone on the edge of their seats. When Tank took a knee after a clean right hand followed by a body shot, that wasn't a slip or a stumble. That was a tactical collapse, and it looked like a clear knockdown. And it wasn't just Terence Crawford calling it out. Boxing heavyweights like Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya took to social media saying the same thing. That was a knockdown, no debate. The ref letting that slide completely changed the energy of the fight.
Was this not a knockdown? Tank Davis was just exposed, man. What is going on in the sport of boxing, man? KDB Sports and Entertainment.
I wasn't relying on that. I was relying on what I was doing in there. I think I was taking control. I think I was landing more shots. I think I was landing more power shots. And I thought I was doing my thing. So I'm not really that frustrated about that.
And honestly, it might have saved Tank's undefeated record. Now here's the twist. Tank and Roach knew each other from their amateur days, both hailing from the same DMV.
This is my opinion. Sure. It was a great fight. It was a close fight. Depending on what they do with that decision of taking the knee, depending if the commission reverses the decision or I think a draw was meant to be. So I like the draw. No, if you take a knee, man, if you take a knee in the 90s or in 2000, you're taking a point off. That's the bottom line. You're taking a point off. I don't know what happened with the referee. Maybe he was a little starstruck. Maybe he was a little, because he loves Tank. He loves New York. He loves the big lights. The referee with the eyes, he's like, a point should be deducted if you take a knee. It's a fact. It's in the rule book, right? The fact that they didn't take it away, then that's where the controversy is, right? It's not, look, did Gervonta get hit? Was he dazed? Who knows? Only he knows. But what I saw, when you take a knee, that's an automatic point. That's just the rule. This is not basketball. This is not, this is not basketball where, wait, hold on, my ankle hurts. Hold on, let me take a timeout. You don't take timeouts in boxing. It just doesn't happen. Whether he had something in his eye or not, you have to fight. There's 3 minutes to fight. So if you take a knee, if you go to your corner, I mean, the rules are the rules. And I don't know what New York is gonna settle on, but the rules are the rules.
That night, I haven't watched the full fight. One thing that's kind of baffling is that it wasn't a knockdown. I mean, look, he wasn't hurt. There's no doubt about that. But if you take a knee in the fight and you touch down, whilst punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, that he should be
region. So there was history there. Maybe Tank thought he had Roach all figured out.
I think the hardest punch I ever faced. No. And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Okendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I lie to you not. He punch hard. I ain't gonna lie. He hard.
But Crawford made it clear, this isn't the amateurs. And in the pros, they hit different. If Tank thinks he can coast on reputation, he's in for a rude awakening.
And Gervonta Tank Davis just been released to the public. We know now, December 14th, Houston, Texas, he's going to be facing a very tough opponent in Lamont Roach. Can you tell us a little bit about the history between them two?
Oh man, they've been knowing each other from the amateurs, silver gloves, everything. They grew up actually together, you know. Roach and him, back and forth battles and whatnot. It's gonna be a pretty interesting fight. You know what I'm saying? Because Roach he come to fight, and I think it's a great fight. Everybody talking all that stuff about why Roach, because he signed and took the fight. You know what I'm saying? And it's good for the community.
Let's just talk about one of the most viral moments from the interview, when Crawford questioned why. None of the top names in boxing are fighting each other. He dropped names: Teofimo, Lomachenko, Shakur.
He would never even think about to come up to 154.
All right, what about 47 though?
Yes, if he get to pick his opponent. But Tank would never come from 35 to 54.
Y'all got into it on social media around that time. Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens, or is it like?
I just really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. That's like
just not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
I don't like nothing about him. I just feel like he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality and his ways.
Tank, Garcia, Haney. A dream lineup of super fights just collecting dust. And he called it what it is: straight-up politics. According to Crawford, if these guys all retire undefeated without ever fighting each other, it'll be the biggest stain on this generation of boxing. Because if you're at the top, you should be fighting the top. He even admitted, I ain't going to be the only one walking around with a loss.
I think all of them should fight, you know.
I mean, you got Lopez, Teofimo, you got Lomachenko, you got Shakur, you got Tank, you got Garcia. You got 5 guys. That's a nice little.
Devin Haney.
Devin Haney, yeah. You got 6 guys. Don't nobody want to fight nobody?
I don't know. I think they all should, you know, be fighting each other.
Well, so what we got going on?
Politics.
Bro, if Shakur and Haney and Tank, if all of them leave, if they retire with undefeated records, that's some bull jive. That's some straight up, and you know it too, bud. Ain't no way those guys should have undefeated records. If they're out in their prime and they damn near in the same, no, ain't no way.
That's a grown man response. Someone who cares more about competition than image. So, if Tank's ducking fights to protect his zero, Crawford's already ahead of him, both in skill and mindset. It wasn't just about one fight, though.
Ryan Garcia and Tank, they talk about they might fight again, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot made about this rehydration clause. You don't have that. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think you have this in this one. So theoretically, he's supposed to come in at 168. Night of the fight, he might be 180, 185. You cool with that? I had sat down with Oscar, and Oscar said he think the rehydration clause had a lot to do with why Ryan didn't defeat Gervonta. What do you think?
I think 2 things. I'm gonna say 3 things. I think Ryan had an injury already previous in training. I think the way it did have an effect on him, because when you see him with Devin, he was totally different.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Fighters.
Crawford made a few subtle digs that hint at a deeper skepticism. When asked about Ryan versus Tank and the rehydration clause, Crawford broke it down perfectly. He said Tank was probably in the right, but the clause definitely affected Ryan's performance.
Going up those weight classes to face him, how do you convince fans that he can beat Canelo?
I ain't trying to convince y'all that he can beat Canelo. He's a good fighter. But, bro, I would say smaller fighters are always better than bigger fighters because, they're smaller, they know how to move and things like that. But this guy is great at what he do. He got. And another thing, bro, I don't be wanting to. How these guys is. Then he get hurt against
Magimov?
who?
There you talking about
Gamboa.
Crawford by Magimov? Is that what he
No,
said?
he got clipped by
Gamboa?
Gamboa, right? Right? What the fuck is he's looking this strong over the past year. I mean, these years. He ain't been getting clipped or nothing. So now, that's that snack shit. I'm telling you. Y'all laugh. I'm always.
No, do tell. Open up.
And that guy that a part of it, he been caught before. He went to jail for it.
You're talking about Victor Conti?
He went to jail, right?
Victor Conti?
Yeah. And he the owner of the snack shit, right? And he went to jail for it. Now it's like, you see Earl, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but you see Earl said some things like that, like about the people using steroids, but he don't want to say no names, but come on, bro.